Hey everybody, it's Strict 9 with Strict 9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 playthrough with the Cubs. Last episode, we went up through the All Star break, and we're struggling at that point. Uh, since then, the wheels have kind of fallen off. I kind of expected it. Um, I started this series thinking if we finish at 500, it'll be a miracle. Certainly would be a miracle if we had a winning record. I mean, I just don't think this team, the way it's rated in Out of the Park 21, is a playoff ready team. But we just had a ton of injuries that just kicked us in the butt, really. Just we'll start off just taking a look at the standings and how we're doing. So we're at 56 and 81, already assured of a non-winning record. No surprise, but 25 games under 500. We are last in the National League Central. We are one day away from the September 1st and roster expansion, but I'm using the new roster expansion rules, so I'm only going to be able to add a couple. So that's not going to be that big of a deal. Looking at the team stats, I thought last episode I even mentioned it. We had a good May, not so great in June, but I thought, there was some life there, but then made some trades, had some injuries, and we're just like full on rebuilding at this point. There's no way to hide the fact that we're a bad team, and it's both sides of the ball now. At one point, our offense was looking okay, but I think those injuries just really started getting to be too much. One thing that's killing me is the extra inning games, 5-13, and I think that's. I keep saying it, but unless you play the games out, I don't know how you're going to tell. But I really wonder if it's got something to do with that three batter rule. Maybe the AI handles it better. I don't know, but you can't really manage in an extra inning game. That's going to be really tough. I don't even know how that's going to work in real life baseball. I'm all for shortening the game and things like that, but I just feel like you take a lot of strategy away if you're only looking, or if you're making that limitation on managers, especially late in the game. And I think it's hurting us. And I don't know. I've stayed with the strategy of I think it's just a moderate tactical strategy. So I'm slow to pull the relievers and the starting pitchers. I don't know. That's something I guess I'm just going to have to continue to work on, which I like. I like the challenge of it, but I'm going to have to continue to work on that to see what strategy is going to fit. And I said before, I didn't like going in here and individually changing all these sliders and things, but I may have to come up with something on my own that gets us winning since I'm simming out like every game. But we'll work on that probably next season. Take a look at the stats one more time. So we definitely fell off the rails after the All-Star break, but I feel like, as surprising as it may be, the starters' ERA is about middle of the pack. Pretty high, but I guess that's just how many runs we're seeing in the league. So I don't know if eventually I'll be able to build on the starting rotation that I have. But there's a lot of holes in that bullpen. Bullpen is still 14th in ERA, and it's just the bullpen is a challenge. We'll take a look next at the standings just to give you an idea of the rest of the league. So Tampa Bay has started to really pull away in the American League East over the Yankees. Boston's struggling a little bit now, even though they've won 9 of 10. They're half game back in the wild card. Chicago, after looking really good most of the season, they've slipped a little bit. I'd still like to see them make the playoffs. I've said throughout, I think they are an up and coming team. They would be a great team to manage in this out of the park 21 and beyond, really. Houston and the Angels in a fairly tight race, but nothing too great. This is one of the reasons that the White Sox are doing so good. Jimenez is really developing. Just a 3.5 with 4 potential from my scout, but same with OSA. But his individual ratings are good, and he's having a great year. Another young guy here came over in that Mookie Betts trade. Verdugo, leading the league in batting, 349 batting average. Andrelton Simmons, believe it or not, is rated really highly in this playthrough, I've noticed. Obviously, he's almost a class to himself as a defensive shortstop, but his offensive numbers have been pretty good. And I saw him there because he has a 24-game hitting streak, the longest in MLB in this playthrough for the 20 season. So that's good to see. He is a free agent at the end of this season, so he's going to be probably a good pickup for somebody. Garrett Cole leading in strikeouts, 14 wins, first year with the Yankees, having a great season, probably in the mix for the Cy Young there. He is leading in pitchers, wins above replacement. On the National League side, Atlanta looking good, Washington. The Phillies are just a couple games under 500. On that test run that I did right after I got the game, this is one of the first episodes I did with Out of the Park 21. I'm still playing that on the side, and the second season it's gotten a little bit better. I've been at or above 500 most of the year. So they're in a kind of a rebuild mode, but I think they're more competitive, in a more competitive situation than the Cubs. And they have, again, I just didn't want to go with the Phillies this year because I play them. They're my favorite team. I play them all the time. But I think the Phillies are an interesting team to pick up too in this game, just with the way they're rated. They have a very good, not the best minor league system, but a very good minor league system I've found. I mean, I've got a lot of depth at pitching, and it seems like every time I have an injury on that playthrough, I've got another guy I can pull up from AAA and really not bat an eye. I mean, they've still stayed competitive. So that's good. As a Phillies fan, that's pretty good for me. But in the National League Central, Cardinals doing well. Pittsburgh struggling. I thought Cincinnati would play a little bit better, but they've been down here pretty much with us a lot of the season. And then in the West, best record in baseball, the Dodgers Tampa Bay, I'm sorry, best record but in baseball, but Dodgers' best record in the National League. They're running away with it. Magic number at 7. Individually, Polanco, Pittsburgh's having a good year. Don't know why his ratings aren't that great. Just probably, benefiting from the Sim engine somehow. Corey Seager leading in batting. Mookie Betts having a good season. 8.5 pace on the wins above replacement. And I think he's probably close in the lead. Look at those Dodger players. Bellinger, Betts, Seager. 1, 2, 3 in wins above replacement. Flaherty at St. Louis having a good year. That's probably why they're winning the division. He's probably, he's looking like he's in a good shape for the Cy Young in the National League. So that's how the league looks. Let's take a look at how our injuries look, because that's the big story too. So Ian Happ, who I told you guys last episode, made some big gains in ratings and scouting right around, I guess, middle of the season. So he's, with those kind of ratings, I mean, even OSA has him as a 5-star potential. You can almost build a team around this guy. I want to keep him at left field primarily, and the space is open for him now. I'll go over that when we look at transactions. After the rating update, he kind of he had a great May and April, but his second half hasn't been that good before the injury. So I'm hoping that that's not going to, next time we have a scouting report, I'm hoping that doesn't go down. But right now, I think going forward, he's going to be a part of this team for a while. Albert Amore Jr. having a good season. He's injured now. He was an all-star this year, one of the few all-stars on the team. And then Hayward out for another day. And that's pretty much the only big thing on the offense. I know that's probably enough, really. But Hendricks was the big blow. He went out, I think... He was out in that last episode, but he's gone for the season. Signed to a pretty long contract, 3 more years with an option. So it's going to be interesting to see if he takes a big hit ratings wise when he comes off the DL. But looking at transactions, I did make a few. I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep this team together. So I was able to move a few of the guys I wanted to move. Let's just look kind of first trade here, middle of July. Now I did try a whole bunch of different trade. One of my ground rules on trading is that I pretty much like to shop them around. I like doing 1-for-1 trades. Occasionally I'll do a 2-for-2 or 3-for-3. But it's just kind of a ground rule I have so that I'm not cheating the AI. Especially, I've got the trading on the normal setting. I've said before, I don't think it's easy necessarily to cheat the AI, but you can pretty much, if you work on it really hard, you can get some really lopsided trades in your favor. And so I like just sticking with the shop play around and just taking the best that they'll give me. I think that it feels more realistic to me when I do it that way. So these trades are based, these are trades that I shop the players around, and this is the offers I got. So the first one was Wilson Contreras, and I was talking about him last time. I thought, hey, I'm going to trade Wilson Contreras because I think I'm okay with the backup that we had. I think both of them could start on the team, and Contreras is going to be asking for more money next year. But what the surprise here is who I traded him for. I traded him for Eduardo Rodriguez, who is struggling. He is going to be in arbitration next year, and I think he's probably got maybe 2 years or 1 more year left, I guess, before I lose him. I am going to be losing Quintana, so that was kind of my rationale. Let me get this guy to kind of make up for him, and it would be, I think he would be Rodriguez I thought was a better pitcher than what I would pick up in free agency at that money. And so Boston offered him, and I took it. And I think he hasn't looked that great for us, but, if he gives me typically what he gave Boston, ERA sub 4, double digits in wins, over 200 strikeouts in 2019, I'll be happy. That's fine with me. Then the next one, Kyle Schwarber, which I knew I was going to have to trade him away. He was going to, again, ask for $8 million in arbitration. And he's graded as a left fielder only in out of the Part 21. And I've got so many options at left field. I really needed to get rid of Schwarber. So what I got for him was Drew Rasmussen, who has struggled, but he's another guy who's got a few years of control left. He's a 4-star potential pitcher from my scout and OSA. His stuff and fastball and slider, those, his stuff is the highest you can have. His fastball is the highest you can have. Throws 97, 99, has good ratings, really good stuff against lefties and righties. But I was hoping that with the right, maybe I'll get a good pitching coach in the off season. Maybe he'll develop these two ratings a little bit better, and he might be I don't think he's going to turn into a starter, but I think he could be somebody I can count on in that bullpen for a while. And I thought that was a good trade. Definitely good trade money-wise. So, was there another trade here that I did? Yeah, one more trade. Jeremy Jeffress, who was picked up from Milwaukee. He was in. He had a good run. In, 2018 with Milwaukee, or one of those years where they were in the playoffs. He was a big part of that. His personality ratings are terrible, and that was one thing I didn't like about him. He was having a really bad year overall, although he had picked it up a little bit in July, going into when I traded him. But I was able to. He's a free agent after the season. I was able to trade him to St. Louis for Seth Elledge, another 3.5-star potential reliever from my scout, 4-star potential from OSAs. This guy's got great individual ratings, 3 strong pitches, and really good stuff. He has looked terrible since I've called him up, but he's had some good stints here in the minors, and he's never pitched it in the majors. This is the first time he's pitched in the majors. So I'm going to give him some time to maybe develop, and I think he'll be a guy, hopefully, to help out the bullpen going forward. So I went primarily all pitchers, but that's where I thought I needed the most help, and I think the time will tell, but I think looking into next year, those 3 moves, I'm pretty happy with them. I think that's what I had to do to go into next year. And next year, there were some guys I guess I just could not move. But even already, I mean, when I started this thing, we had like $4 million available for free agents and extensions. So now we're up. We got some room already to go. And upcoming free agents, there's nobody here. I'm not going to, now that I picked up Rodriguez, I'm not going to sign Quintana. He has given me 27 starts, though, to his credit. It's just that I don't think he's going to be somebody. He's going to want probably 3 or 4 years. I don't want to sign him for that long. So I'm going to be in pretty decent shape, I think, in terms of the players that I'm going to lose. I'm not going to lose anybody big. And then the 2 biggest things, I think this also gives me room to keep Rizzo 1 more year without having to sweat it too much. But then I can also let Lester go and feel like we've got some room to either pick up another starter or might have some of these guys who have traded for or a couple in the minors develop. And Al Moore Jr. is going to be an interesting too when it comes to the offseason. He's had a great year. I may try to trade him. He might have some value on the market. I don't think I'll keep Bote. Is it Bodie? Is that how you say it? David Bodie? I don't think I'll keep him. He's going to be starting to get into some arbitration figures too. So I'm going to have some room to save some money here. So that's how we're standing. Let's go ahead and play this last game to get to the roster expansion. We beat the Mets 3-1 last game. That was good. Another good win here against San Francisco, 12-1. So Hayward, he's been out for a while. Let me see how long he's been out. 5 weeks. I'm going to try to give him some rehab assignment time, although, I'm not that keen on starting him right now. I just he's the big question mark, honestly. I do not know what you do with Hayward with that contract. But let's see how he did in this game. Horner, another guy, I didn't really mention what the team's doing, but Horner, individual ratings are still solid. He's still, though, just a 2.5-star rated player, so that's worrying me a little bit. He can play several positions. Is he really going to be a starter long term? I'm not 100% sure on that right now. But he had a good game. Baez, another good game, up to 80 RBIs for the year. Miller, a guy who I called up from Iowa, he hasn't looked too bad. He's got some good speed. I think he's a good guy to have on the bench for sure. And then Quintana, 9 innings, complete game, just 1 run, so that's a good game from him. Let's look at the news here real quick. So Dodgers already in the playoffs. They clinched a spot. So let's look at the player updates. So Seth Elledge, he's already developed. I think this was a really big, even though his numbers are terrible, I really think this was a good pickup. I mean, his movement's already gone up to 50 with a potential 55. His controls 45, potential 50. I really like that pickup. Jarrell Cotton lost some ratings. He's been starting with all the injuries that I've had. He's 7 starts for the year now. Jack Patterson looking pretty good. This guy has gotten some interest from several teams wanting to trade for him. He might be somebody I should call up here in September. Giovanni Cruz, he's injured, but he's really picked up some potential ratings there too this year. That's pretty good. So, players of the week, or players of the month, sorry, in American League, Willie Calhoun. His numbers have been really good in this playthrough and the Phillies playthrough I'm doing. Corey Seager in the National League. Pitchers, Emmanuel Clace. This guy looks like a rookie in the American League. In the National League, Herman Marquez for Colorado. That's kind of a surprise. Rookies of the year, this guy Clace and Gavin Lux having a really good rookie season himself. Pretty solid overall. 3.5 WAR potential. So let's see what we can do. I know injury-wise, Almora Jr. is going to be back in about 5 days. Ian Happ, I don't know when he's coming back. So if I look at the lineups, do I need really help here? Chris Bryant struggling. Gosh, this guy's struggling so bad. I just don't think I have anybody to call up right now until Happ and Almora come off the injury list. Man, Underwood is really stinking it up. So I think I want to call up either 1 or 2 pitchers. Chatwood, not really in a hurry to call him up, although he's about to run out of time. Well, he's a free agent at this year, into this year anyway. I want to look at this Alzolay guy. Maya, I called up from Double-A. He's going to be, I think, probably competing for the backup and maybe in a couple years be a starter if he develops anymore. So offensively, I don't have anybody to call up. So maybe we'll look at Patterson. I think that's what we'll do. And then pitching-wise, you got Patterson's a lefty. I'm going to try this Alzolay in place of Cotton for a while and let Cotton be the long relief and middle. And then I want Patterson in long relief. I'm going to have a lot of long relief guys here. See if he can do a special. No, not really. And middle relief as a secondary. So let's see what that gets us. So game 2 against San Francisco, or this may be, yeah, just game 2. Another win, 2-1. Pitching has looked pretty good this series so far. Caratini looks like he may have had a home run. This is why I traded my catcher. I can't remember his name. Sorry. I felt like, at least from my scout, this is pretty decent. I can live with this guy. I know his arbitration is only $1.8 million. I think he'll probably wind up getting more than that. But I'm okay with him being full-time starter right now. Rodriguez, his best outing, I think, for us since he came over in the trade. Now let's go the last game against San Francisco. We lose 2-3, but overall good pitching performance here. Horner 3 for 4, good series anyway from pitching. Alzolay, his first start this year. He played a little bit last year. Not too bad, 9 strikeouts. So look at the news. Kikuchi, how did he do? Not too good. He hasn't been looking too good in either of these. either of these playthroughs, either this one or my Philly playthrough. All right, so now we're going to be up against Cincinnati. This would be a good one. Maybe we could get some catch up some ground on Cincinnati so we don't finish in last place. So game 1, we lose 4-6. Caratini, Ortega. This is a guy I traded, I think, or maybe picked him up on claimed him off waivers. I just needed somebody to fill the space, really. And Lester he's struggled. I thought for a while there he was going to have a good chance of getting 200 wins with us, but he's not. He's really had a tough time of it the second half. And another extra inning loss, 5-7, Cincinnati. Not good. So I'm going to put Almora out there in rehab, and their season's about over in Iowa. Let me see what the schedule's like. So they got one more week. So after this week, I'll bring Almora and Jason Hayward up. So in this game, Perez, who just a 2-star player, called him up with injuries. He's looked pretty good, coming off the bench. He can play several positions, but he's 29 years old. There's not much of a future. I think OSA has his individual ratings pretty high, a lot of green there, but not much of a future with this guy. Pitching-wise, Darvish, not too bad, but Elledge, even though I'm still riding him out, I think he needs the time. I want him to be ready to compete for a big bullpen spot next season. Hopefully this is not going to hurt his growth. Darvish, 12 wins. I think he's leading still my starters. And I did, I didn't really try to trade him away. I just felt like you're not going to be able to trade this guy with this contract. So last game against Cincinnati, 9-2, so we salvaged 1 win. I think right now I'm shooting for maybe 70 wins. That would be victory enough. Rizzo, a good game here, 280. Had he not been injured, I think he really would have had his typical 30 home run, 100 RBI type seasons. Baez, 3 RBIs in the game. Horner, 2 hits. Good game from him. And then pitching, Quintana, his 9th win. So he may wind up double digits in wins here. So, players of the week, Sano having a great year with Minnesota, 50 home runs already. Garrett Hampson, kind of a young guy there in Colorado. Zach Greinke is going to be out for 4 months. He may be... No, he's got one more season, 2021. Power rankings, we're not last. We're 22nd. I mean, we didn't overtake Cincinnati, and man, we're 8 games behind them. That's going to be hard to catch at this point. But we're not the worst record in baseball, but we are the worst record in the National League. So, for what it's worth, I'm hoping that if you're a Cubs fan, don't get too mad at me. I feel like this is where this team's at. I'm gonna go ahead. I said I was gonna wait another week, but I'm just gonna take Souza down and call Hayward up. He's looked really good in the minors for what it's worth. And I'm going to let him play here, maybe get Ortega in there for every 5th game. And put Ortega in there since he's been so high. I'm going to put him in there as backing up Perez. And then against lefties, his ratings are terrible. So let's say Jason Hayward, you're going to be way coming in way late there. Maybe you'll be pinch runner off the bench here. And then against righties, how's Kipnis doing? Yeah. I think I'll do this again, like Ortega, let him start every 5th game. We're probably not going to have too many. Didn't want to do that. We're probably not going to have too many DH situations going down the stretch. Colorado, St. Louis this week. Probably won't see too many. All right, so then against lefties, Jason Hayward, you can come in there every once in a while at right and center. And I'll let you pitch run. I'll let you even pinch hit. All right, let's go. So on the road against Colorado for 3, game 1, a 5-3 win. That's good. Colorado's tough to win on the road. Caratini, a couple RBIs in this one. Baez didn't hit a home run, drove in a run. Rodriguez, another win. So he's 4-2 with us now. 2 pretty good outings in a row from him. Game 2, 12-7, big offensive win. Perez, don't know why, but this guy's really looked good. 4 for 5, drove in a couple. Baez, Bryant finally had a good game. But man, his season is not good. And I've said it, I know I keep repeating myself here, but the way Out of the Park 21 has him rated, I mean, he is middle of the road at best. He's going to get a lot of money in arbitration just because of where he comes into the game at, I think. But you can see how he's dropped off from last year even to this year. He's almost a liability at this point. Alzolay, not so good in this game, but we had some good bullpen, except for Rasmus, another guy I'm depending on for next year. But bullpen saved it for us. Game 3 against Colorado, 5-3, another big win. We sweep them on the road. Horner 2 for 5 in this one. Perez 2 more hits. He's hitting 346. Fegley, the backup catcher, had a good game. And then Lester finally got a win. 8 innings, just 2 earned runs. That's 7 wins for him this year. He's 3 away from 200. Keep up with the news while I can here. LeMahieu, not too good this year. 277 average. Ramirez, 3 home runs in a game. Toronto out of the playoffs. I think this is where the Cubs are out. We're already out of the playoffs. I think it might be time to bring up Almora because he's probably not going to get a chance to play. So I'm going to call Zagunis down, and he's going to have to go on waivers. And Almora back up. And I'm going to put... let me see what his splits are like. Not too bad. Let me keep him in there starting for now, and I'll put Almora Jr. in there every 3rd game, but I'm going to have Almora Jr. starting, not at left. Can Miller play left? He can. So, yeah, we'll do it that way. And then, even though Perez is looking good, man, I don't want to tinker with that. Maybe let's have Almora leading off against lefties. Give Horner some breathing room, and then Almora here every 3rd game. And even I'll have him. Even though, like I say, I don't think we're going to see any DH time here. And then against righties, let's say Almora is going to be primary pinch hitter. And then I think the Scalzo might be slower too, so we'll do it that way. All right, so let's finish out the season here. We're on the road against St. Louis for 4 games. We win the first one 9-1. Big win there. We're on a roll since I started the episode. Baez may have had a home run. He did in this one. Ortega 3 RBIs. Perez 2 for 4, still hitting really good. He's hot. Darvish wasn't injured, I don't think, but he only picked up 3 innings in this game. So now I'm gonna have to bring. I think I'm gonna have to bring Ian Happ in because Iowa's season's done. So who do I call down at this point? Descalzo, I mean, is he... Man, look at that. He has a team option. And so I guess I'm going to have to let Kipnis, who's a free agent, I guess I'm going to have to let Kipnis go. To make room for... because the Scalzo, I think if I release him, I'm going to be on the hook for that team option year. Gosh, I'll just release Kipnis just to play it safe. That doesn't seem right to me. I think I'm supposed to be on the hook for next year's salary too. But let's bring Ian Happ in there. I know he's. I really wish I could have got him some rehab time. But I'm gonna, even though Perez is so hot, I think what I'm gonna do is Perez, I think, can play right. So I'm gonna put Ian Happ here. I'm gonna put Perez backing up. I didn't really want to do that. Yeah, that'll work. Every third game for now until I know Ian Happ is healthy. And then against lefties, Ian Happ will come in there. And I don't want him batting so far down. I'm going to put him in the second spot. And again, Horner. And then same here. I'm gonna give Horner some room there. And then I'm assuming we're not going to see much DH, but I'm going to let Happ be the DH. Whoop. And we'll see it like that. All right, so game 2 against St. Louis, we lose 2-3, a close one. Ian Happ back off the DL, 2 for 4. Rizzo 3 for 4 in this one. Quintana 8 innings, but couldn't pick up the win. Oh, game 3, 7-0 shutout. Rizzo couple hits, Bryant couple hits, Caratini, Almora Jr., and then Rodriguez. Starting to like this pickup more and more. Look at what he's done in September. 3 starts, 3 wins, a 1.46 ERA. Wow, I'm hoping that's a sign of things to come from him. So game 4, chance to win this series. We do 8-4. Rizzo, Baez, Happ, Bryant. You know, that heart of the lineup, really good in this game. And then Alzolay, his first win since I've called him up. Not his first career win, but pretty good game from him. A lot of news here. Let me take a look at it so it doesn't get out of hand. I know some guys I've seen on playthroughs, they just don't even pay attention to their emails. I'm such a control freak that I'm always looking for it. So Daniel Murphy, 3 home runs. He's had a good year. I thought he would have a good year, you know, a good time with Colorado, the kind of hitter he is. Joey Votto, a pretty decent year for him as well. He reaches his 2,000th hit. Rodriguez made the news with his shutout. Oh, and Vladimir Guerrero going to be suspended for a while there. Player of the week, JD Martinez. He's another one in this playthrough and the Phillies playthrough. He's looked pretty good. And then Acuna Jr. having a decent year. He's player of the week. We probably moved up. Well, not much, but we're 21st in the team rankings now. And you look at the standings, though. Gosh, we've won 7 of 10. We're 20 games below 500. We're not going to catch Cincinnati without some really miracle stuff happening, but we might be able to get to 70 wins. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So let's go. First game against Pittsburgh at home, we win 6-2. Happ, another good game. Bryant, maybe he's maybe he's been hearing me criticize him. He's having a decent September. And then 3 RBIs from Hayward in this one. Lester, his 8th win, a solid game from him. 7 1/3, just 1 earned run. Is he going to get to 200 wins? 2 away from it. I'm assuming he's got a chance 2 more starts. If I'm not off on that, at least 1 more start. I hope he gets it. Game 2 against Pittsburgh, another win, 13-6. A lot of offense in this one. Rizzo having a solid year. Again, I really wish I hadn't messed up his DL time. And that was a good suggestion, too, from a viewer to edit it. But I just did not think about it at the time. Bryant, another good game. Caratini. And then Darvish's 13th win looked good here. Hey, and while I'm on the Flaherty, too, another win. While I'm mentioning viewer comments, which I really appreciate. I really appreciate all the support I get. Finally reached 200 subscribers, which is pretty impressive. I know that's small fry for a lot of gaming channels, but that's pretty big for me. But I had a question from a viewer who was wanting to know how I can go back. And it may not be that it shows up. Maybe it's just the way the cursor is, but it's this button right here. It's the arrow with the circle around it. So if I go, like if I'm here, I don't know, if I go to the history, right, and I want to go back to the email inbox, you hit that button. As long as you're on a screen where you can go back, you hit that button, it'll go back. All right, so just wanted to make sure I showed that. All right, and we lose game 3 against Pittsburgh. Chris Bryant, though, another good game. Quintana really rocked here. 6 innings, 8 runs, but Rasmussen, he looked good in relief in this one, and I think he's starting to pick it up again. He's looked pretty decent in September so far. So game 4 against Pittsburgh, Zagunis cleared waivers. I might as well send him back to Iowa for now. We lose 1-2. Chris Bryant, 4-game home run streak. Not too bad. Miller, a couple hits. That's about it. A poor offensive game here. Keller, a young pitcher from Pittsburgh, had a good game, although he's had a pretty poor year. And Rodriguez, again, another good outing from him. 6 1/3, just 2 earned runs. But our offense just couldn't get it going in this game. Lost 2-1. So now we're going to be at home against Colorado for 3. And Tyler Chatwood. What do they want me to do with Tyler Chatwood? I know I'm going to release him, so that's what I'm going to have to do at this point. He's not coming back, so first game against Colorado at home. Lose. No, we don't. Yeah, we do. Lose 1-4. So very little offense. Alzolay, pretty decent game in some ways. 10 Ks, but we just no offense in this one. Game 2 against Colorado. Offense has gone cold. We lose 3-1. Just 5 hits in the game. Lester, a decent outing, but that's probably going to be his chance for 200 now. And then last game against Colorado, big win, 8-0. Looks like the offense, no big stars here. Darvish, a home run, his first of the season, picks up his 14th win, so nice outing from him. 8 1/3, no runs, 9 Ks. I'm going to take a look at the news here. Trey Turner, 32 home runs. That's a little unusual. Kevin Biggio, pretty good year there. A couple guys hitting for the cycle. Reds out. Yelich, 3 home runs. Atlanta's in the postseason. Minnesota wins the American League Central. Cardinals win the National League Central. And then Players of the Week, Joe Adell for the Angels, a rookie, and Christian Yelich for the National League. And we're down to, what is that, the last week of the season? And I think And is there any milestones we can have? I mean, we're not going to catch Cincinnati. So if we win 4 of 7, that would be a nice way. What is that? 72. So I think we've only got 5 games left. Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Let me just take a look at the schedule that we got left. It'd be easier to look at it here. So we got just 5 games left. Luckily, we end at home against St. Louis. So let's see if we can. Brandon Phillips retiring. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Let's see if we can win a couple and make it to 70 wins. Game 1 against Pittsburgh on the road, 6-3. Perez, a good game here. Horner 2 hits, and Quintana finishes with 10 wins for us. Kimbrel had a good second half. He was very angry, wanting to trade earlier, but he had a good September anyway. Game 2 against Pittsburgh, lose 3-6. So we're going to go up into that St. Louis series needing at least a win to get to 70. So Miller, Caratini, a couple hits in this game. Rodriguez, he calmed down a little bit, but I still like his September. 5 starts, 2.25 ERA. I do hope that's a preview of what he's going to give us next year. He's got a slight injury, but he's not going to go on the DL for that. All right, so Dylan Cease, he's gone. Atlanta wins the National League East. Sean Doolittle had a pretty decent year here in Washington. They re-signed him to a couple years. Tyler Olson retiring. All right, so here's the goal. 1 win. That's all I'm asking for. 1 win so I don't stay in that, embarrassing 60s number. Game 1, 2-3, close one. A couple hits from Baez. His average is low this year. And Lester, no chance. So he's going to finish out the season with 198 wins. I don't know if he's going to get picked up next year. Might. You have to give the guy credit. Even though this was a very poor year, honestly, a 0.1 wins above replacement. Look at the starts he gave Chicago. You can't really fault him too much. He made a pretty good amount of money here, but that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons of 32 starts, except for 1. That was 31. That's pretty good. You can't really can't fault him for that. So Elledge, he's going to be injured a little bit there. I don't want to see that. Game 2, St. Louis. There's your 70th. So I'm okay. I'll take this as a victory for us this year. Horner, Rizzo, Baez, couple hits in this one. Darvish, his 15th win. Here's another one. I know that's not a $22 million season, probably just 2.9 wins above replacement. But considering how bad this team is, pitching-wise, that's he is the ace. He was paid like the ace, and he was the ace on the team. So game 3, can we win the series? We do, 3-2 in extra innings. So that's a good way to end it. 71-91 record, 20 games under 500. Happ had a couple hits in this one. Alzolay, the last start of the year for him, pretty good. So he might be somebody who has a chance at a rotation spot next year. We'll see. We'll look at the news and then look at the standings. And Barrios had a good number of wins anyway for Minnesota. Oh, pretty decent looking pitcher here that my scout has picked up. 2.5 stars. That's not bad. Really good stamina. So if he develops a little bit, that's nice to see. Astros win, and White Sox are going to be in. So, and I knew they had it in them. I didn't know if it was going to be this year, but definitely had it in them. So power rankings, we finished 23rd, and that's probably just the record we had. I think I don't think September was really really bad. 14-10. We improved in offense, a lot of categories here. Starters ERA still middle of the pack, but defensive efficiency, that's pretty good. So there are some positives I can build on, I guess, for next year. Let's take a look at the standings. Tampa Bay, huge year, 107 wins. New York, they came on strong, 101 wins for them. So they're in. The Twins won pretty easily, but the White Sox beat out Boston and Angels for the wild card. Houston, pretty close there. Angels made a good run, won 9 of 10, almost came through and won the West. Individually, Jimenez, great year for him. Lindor, look at that year. 8.6 wins above replacement. He's going to be probably a MVP category or MVP candidate. Blake Snell leads in ERA. Jesus Luzardo at Oakland wins 17. That's kind of a surprise. 290 strikeouts from Garrett Cole, who leads in pitcher, wins above replacement. He's probably favorite for Cy Young. And how about Aroldis Chapman, 38 saves? What does that give him for his career? 311. National League, Braves won pretty easily, but how about the Phillies? 85 wins, won 9 of 10, 5 in a row. That's pretty good to see from them. Cardinals, not a great year, but they won the Central pretty easily. A weak year for the Central. And Dodgers and San Diego make it from the West. So it looks like, I didn't really notice this. It's going to be Philadelphia and Nationals competing for that final wild card spot. And I don't know what this achievement is, but we'll take a look at it here. Phillies are going to be in. Phillies win 86 and make the playoffs. How about that? Individually, I didn't look at this, but Seager wins the batting average race. Alonso, 45 home runs. Bellinger and Mookie Betts, they may have calmed down in that last month of the season. Darvish tied for second wins with 15. Flaherty probably, I would say, the favorite for the Cy Young. Soroka, though, had a pretty good year too. Gallegos at St. Louis, 41 saves, led in that category. So for the news, we've got there was some, I don't know what it was, but there was a message, and I wish I should have paid more attention to it, but for some reason Baez came up there. I don't know what it was about, and I just let it go. But let's quick rundown on how the season went, and then we'll call this episode finished. So just looking on the lineup side, wins above replacement, Baez wound up 5.3. I'm kind of surprised by that. His average is low, a lot of strikeouts, no walks, but production-wise, runs, which I like to move that over here, 85 runs, second on the team behind Chris Bryant, believe it or not. Bryant, 2.7 wins above replacement, 31 home runs, but a 225 average, not good. Ian Happ, 3 wins above replacement. Considering the time that he missed, that's pretty good from him. And then same with Rizzo. High average. Power was good for the most part. 857 OPS, that's good. Led the team for the starters anyway. Perez was a surprise. This guy really came on when I called him up. Had a good season. Horner, not too bad. I'm still wondering what I can do with him. Just 0.8 wins above replacement. Fielding stats, not too good, really. I think he played mostly at second, and zone rating of 0.5. I don't know if I want to stick with him too much. And I would, looking at his numbers though, he should be rated okay at second. So I don't know, not sure what happened there. And then Hayward, I guess he had enough of a September to pull him above negative on wins above replacement, but 0.1. Boy, that's a lot of money for a 0.1 wins above replacement. Hopefully he'll bounce back and be somewhat decent next year. On the pitching side, as much as this was the struggle, there were some positives here. No real runaway ace, but Darvish, pretty solid season from him. 3.72 ERA, 34 starts, 194 Ks, not as many home runs as last year. That's good to see, and more innings. So I like that number. ERA plus 118. Eduardo Rodriguez, again, I'm liking that pickup. I bet he pushes it over 10 million for arbitration, but I think he's worth it because Quintana, to extend him, 11 million averaged over 4 years. I think at this point, Rodriguez is just a little bit better pitcher. Quintana did finish with double digits in wins, though. Jarrell Cotton, I don't know, 8 wins. As a starter, he was pretty good. 4-3, 347 and 11 starts. I think some of that though is with. Okay, so 7 starts, 361 ERA. Not too bad as a starter for us, but I don't know what kind of future he has. Alec Mills, same way. I don't know what to do with this guy either. There's going to be a lot of questions with this pitching staff, but I do like these pickups here. I like Rasmussen. I think was a good pickup. I do think, even though he struggled, I think Seth Elledge is going to be a good pickup too. So that's going to end this one. I'll go ahead and send through the playoffs and probably come back right when we're at free agency, and I'll sum up the season and then look at the strategy for next year. I mean, we're going to have some money to play around with. I think we're going to have to focus on pitching first, and especially, starting rotation with Lester, Quintana gone. We're going to have to somehow figure out how much money we're going to sink into another pitcher, but that's where we're probably going to have to focus. But as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support, all the likes and comments I get, and I will see you next episode.